The world's most unlikely Lone Ranger diplomat Dennis Rodman is heading to North Korea tomorrow for his third visit, this time to prepare for, quote, the big bang from Pyongyang, an upcoming basketball extravaganza between North Koreans and former NBA stars for the leader Kim Jong Un's birthday. Rodman is clearly undeterred by the shocking news from there this week. His good friend, the increasingly ruthless Kim, ordered his own uncle executed last week. State media said the husband of Kim Jong Il's sister was, quote, human scum who dared to dream different dreams. All traces of this once powerful figure have now disappeared from the public record, just photoshopped out in true Stalinist style. It's been 2 years since Kim's father, Kim Jong Il, died, and his young son seems to be brutally stamping his own control on the system. Remember, this is someone who's already conducted a nuclear test and threatened a nuclear war. So how to decipher what's coming next? John Everard, the former British ambassador to North Korea, joins me here to do that in the studio. Welcome to the programme.
Glad to be here.
This is really an extraordinary and a worrying time. Would you say more worrying than at any other time recently?
Yes, it's certainly very worrying. More worrying than previous times. It's difficult to draw the analogy, isn't it? But it's worrying because with Jang Song Thaek out of the way, one of the great moderating voices in the regime has been eliminated. And Kim Jong Un is concentrating power more and more in his own rather erratic and inexperienced hands.
Well, let me ask you, you say moderating voices. I mean, he was Kim Jong Un's uncle. He's been there a long time. He was his mentor. The indictment said that he dreamed different dreams. Yes. What does that mean?
I think it means that he had a vision of North Korea as a slightly less closed society, as a country that traded normally to get what it wanted on international markets, rather than trying to manufacture everything itself, which is what the official Juche state philosophy requires. And a man who was perhaps a little more open to foreigners than most of his colleagues in the regime.
Now, again, it's surprising to see that his uncle, this young Kim, would have done that, given that many people, clearly wrongly, thought that he might be a hope for a bit of a reformed future there.
Yes, I think those hopes were quite clearly misplaced. They were based largely on the fact that Kim Jong Un was educated in a school in Switzerland. People, I think, at the time missed the point that a lot of the dictators of the Arab world were educated in the same school. It doesn't seem to be a cradle of democracy.
People also thought perhaps his youth might have sort of introduced him to a different hope for the future, but again, clearly not. You have been poring over some of the images. It's always hard to decipher what goes on there.
Yes. This
must have been a shock for the North Korean people because they haven't seen these public show trials. Is that correct?
That's correct. Not since 1958, in fact. And it will shock them particularly because Jang Song Thaek was so powerful. They will be thinking, if Jang Song Thaek can be removed from power and executed, then nobody is safe.
What is the motive, do you think? Apart from stamping control, you've talked about sort of a reverse perestroika, if you like.
That's right. I think that Kim Jong Un is signaling quite clearly that not just Jang Song Thaek, the man, is dead, but also the vision, as I say, of a less closed North Korea that he represented. I think this is a signal for a return to core North Korean values. And I think it's significant that the indictment condemns Jang Song Thaek for selling North Korean minerals to China too cheaply, which raises interesting questions about what the right price is, and also for what most people would regard as the straightforward commercial transaction of selling a 5-year lease to the Chinese in one of the economic zones.
Well, this is actually interesting again, because most people believe that China is one of the countries with at least some influence over Pyongyang. Do you believe this was a slap in the face to China, what he did?
Yes, I do. I believe that Jang Song Thaek was widely regarded by the Chinese as their man, as it were, at Kim's court, and, as I said at the beginning, as a moderating influence. With him gone, China's influence over this erratic young man is much, much reduced, and they know that.
And China is okay, its only influence may be reduced, but it also has not been propping up Kim Jong Un as it had. I mean, in other words, it's been expressing displeasure and publicly just had a big state visit from the South Korean president.
That's correct. It's allowed a state visit from the South Korean president without any talk about a visit to Pyongyang or from Pyongyang. Also, since the nuclear test, it's cut cash from the aid mix it gives Pyongyang, and it's made clear to the North Koreans that despite repeated entreaties, it is not going to increase aid. It is not going to reward what it regards rightly as North Korean bad behavior.
So, Ambassador, what do you see when you look ahead? I mean, is it being pushed further into a corner? Will Kim lash out? Will there be another nuclear test? Will there be some more sort of tension on the international stage?
I think there is a significant possibility that Kim will lash out. And I say that not as speculation, but because leaks coming out of South Korea indicate that a Jang aide, who has been talking to South Korean intelligence, indicated that a provocation was planned between January and March for next year. We don't know what kind, but it does sound nasty.
And I guess finally, with the visit of Dennis Rodman, is there any hope for some kind of basketball diplomacy?
With the best will in the world, I don't think so. Dennis Rodman himself has made clear that he's not in the business of doing diplomacy, carrying messages or anything like that. He's just gone to see his friend Kim. And I think it would be too much to hope for these visits to change the way that Kim sees the world.
Ambassador Everard, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you.